regulation 15. Now we have seen up to 14 how you get the things together. Now we reach there that okay, equipment is provided, you are given instruction how to maintain it, what spares to maintain, etc., etc. So now we start the next part. Okay. So next one is what? You have got now people. We have organized everything, equipment, everything. We are given maintenance schedule, everything. Now, what do we need to do? The thing is instructions. Instructions is something like information you are giving. Okay. So, by under regulation 15, we provide instructions, duties, organizations. This is how it will go. Crew members shall receive instructions for fire safety on board the ship. Means they will be given information. Then they will be given information about their assigned duties, because obviously when you do your course, STCW course, you cover up all the aspects. But when you go on board, now what training you had was a generic training. Now when you go on ship, you have got to know exactly what you are supposed to do. You know everybody is supposed to do something and all the duties you should have this is fine. But what is my part? So that is what is told to me. Receive instruction on their assigned duties. Then this part, the 2.1.3, just remember very carefully, this is not generally applicable to cargo ships. This is generally applicable to passenger ships where you may be carrying specialist firefighters. See, we do few days training. We are like jack of all trades, perfectly fine. We generally take care of our own ships. But when you talk about passenger ships, the responsibilities are also high, and you also have issues of passengers who are untrained. So you may keep professionals who have been trained for 4 years, like a course. I think there is a graduation course in Nagpur or somewhere for firefighters, and that is I think 4 years course. They call, I don't know what they call it, fire engineering, ऐसा कुछ है title, or tech, B.Tech, but it is only on firefighting. So those people have got more experience. They are professional firefighters. So you may have them. So parties responsible for fire extinguishing shall be organized. Means if they are there, they are organized, and these parties have the responsibility to complete their duties at all times while the ship is in service. That means passenger ships, what happens is they are also taken out of service, because it is not like a continuous job like cargo ships. You may go out to sea for 2 months, and then you will be laid up in the port till you get the next business, because people just don't go every day on passenger ships. People go during their vacation time, so there are seasonal like tourism, so they take it out of the service. So these ones are generally the people who are specially employed for their expertise to take care of the ship in case there is a fire. Then they know better about how to extinguish it than general person or generally trained person like us. Then you have got on-board training and drills. Now you are given all information, you organize everything. Now what happens? Your training was generic when you did it ashore, a general. Now it becomes more ship specific. So for that, they are trained to be familiar with arrangements of the ships as well as location, operation of various firefighting systems and appliances they may be called upon to use. That means when you join the ship, whatever duties you have got, anything, you have to be familiar with the ship. That is what we are talking here. So for that, first thing, you make them familiar. You take them around and show this is here, this is here, this is here. First day you may find little bit odd, but once you start getting experience, you will remember it quickly, because cargo ships, normal accommodation, everything is very simple. It's not really complex. Whereas passenger ship can be a challenge, because they have got so many decks and each deck is long. It is not like cargo ship where it is strictly accommodation and few things added together and that's it. So you have to get familiar. Then you have to train them also to use emergency escape breathing devices. Okay. Why? Because it is a part of onboard training. Now this line, remember it very well, because you can get a simple question on this. Either you will get like MCQ type, fill in the blanks, and also you may get something in an interview also. But remember, EEBD is part of onboard training also, means how to use it.
So, but EEBD, though earlier when we spoke about EEBD, we said कि it requires more training. It is
Correct,
that equipment
correct.
requirement.
You are right. The instructions are given. Instructions are very much given. That is the only one which can be used by untrained person. But we still need to make it a part of onboard training, because onboard training should be complete. You can always say you can read there, but then you have to use it fast. Then the guy should know it, no, at least kaisa hai, kya dalne ka hai, like whatever it is, the general training. But it is not necessary for using it you need any training. Anybody can use it, because instructions are there how to wear it, how, whereas you don't have it on SCBA. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Huh. Then after the drills, we also evaluate performance periodically, means after everyone practically we do it. We discuss in safety committee to see efficiency, because what is the fire drill? We assume a specific part is on fire. We have the drill. We anticipate certain actions. Then we are also checking the time required, and we learn every time something. That okay, there is a issue, we may need to change this instruction and alter it to something. So whatever it is periodically evaluated, and normally it will be in safety committee meeting to identify need of improvement and improve the competency in firefighting skills. So this is what is the discussions generally you will have in safety committee meeting. Array, we did this, but now that team took longer time. Why did they take longer time? Oh, they had a problem here. Okay, now next time how do we get over this problem? So you improve the system. So that is what we are talking here. 2.2.3. On-board training and the use of fire extinguishing system shall be planned. Okay, and conducted, because everything you have to get people to be very much familiarized with it. Now okay, I know this is the extinguisher and all, or this is the fire extinguishing system. Instructions will be generally there only written how to operate it, but still you really need something like on hand training. So you actually see, you pretend as if you're opening the valve, you're shutting something, like that. So it has to be planned and conducted. You can't be telling that nobody knows how to operate CO2 system. Why? See, we always assume couple of people may get hurt badly or may die in the initial stages. In that case, somebody else has to operate the system, to survive. That is the reason this training has to be all over. Then fire drills are conducted and recorded. That is always there. Recording is there in MITS logbook as well as official logbooks. Both places you will find the entry at this time, this date, this was done, and what activity was carried out. It will not be only fire drill carried out. Fire drill carried out, and then there will be, say, fire in accommodation spaces, and like, but it will give more details. Training manual is always provided in crew mess room, crew recreation room, and if you don't want to put only there, you can give it to every crew cabin also, no issues. Training manual has to be provided, that is must. It has to be in working language of the ship. Why? Because if I don't understand specific language, see, purpose is the even crew members have to understand. It is not officers. Officers, everybody, especially like Indian officers, you will say everybody knows English, no problem. What is ship's language? English, fine. The working language, English, fine. But what happens if you go on a ship where working language is Spanish? Okay, we had these cases, like we had captain and chief engineer were Indian, and rest of the full staff was Chilean. Now Chileans, they will talk in Spanish. It's their national language. So they used to conduct everything in Spanish, even though all officers knew English, and fair amount, because when you start traveling internationally, you manage to converse somehow in English, one way or the other. But that sort of a situation can come. Training manual can have many volumes, or it can be a thick file having subsections, because it needs a lot of information. It has instant information about practically everything that you need to know, including all the information provided about the ship, the plans, etc. etc. Now, this is the list. And remember, easily understood terms and illustrated. So, the training manuals are in simple English. They are not in a typical defensive legal language. It is in simple, and the pictures are shown. So, one can always find some mistake here and there, but don't worry about those sorts of things. And here, you can replace training manuals partly or fully in form of audio visual aids allowed, depending on what sort of systems your ship has adopted. Then we have got what all things are there in the training manual. General fire safety practices, precautions to means what we keep on telling everybody: no smoking, electrical hazard, flammable liquids, and all these boards what we put, any common hazards and all. So precautions and safe practices when you are dealing with them. Then you have got firefighting instructions for firefighting activities and firefighting procedures. Then the same thing, like how do you notify a fire? How do you use a manually operated call point? You remember the first part. That is what you are always taught during the STCW course. Shout loudly, fire, fire, like that. Same thing you repeat. But it is telling you in fire manual also, yes, this is what you have to do. Then ship's alarms. What signals are there? If you hear this, this is the meaning. Like so, you can keep on revising it whenever you want. Operation and use of firefighting system and appliances. Like you will have most of it coming from manufacturers, how to operate the things. And generally, that is why when we said in the beginning, the manual can have many subsections, because you are not supposed to be copying it and writing it necessarily. If you have to put the whole manufacturer's instruction card inside, put it inside. That's allowed. Idea is all this information must be available all the time. Then operation and use of fire doors. Now fire doors have got the electromagnetic holders. So how do you operate it? How do you close them? All these instructions are there. Fire and smoke dampers. Fire and smoke dampers, once you go on ship, you will find they are identified, and the everywhere you will find the locking position, open and shut, and both position you can lock them. It is the big flap inside the ventilators. So those are the typical ones. Then many of the engine room ones will have electromagnetic locks to keep them open. So where is the switch? How do you press it, and then everything will shut out. So operation and use of this thing has to be there. Escape system and appliances. Now escape appliances, obviously EEBD will be there. Fire control plans. This is one I have given you two plans. When you get chance, go through the plan just to get idea what it is. Because now you can access what is put on the wall in the passageway near your classrooms. So it is there, PDF format, and then you can enlarge and see the full plan. Just have some idea about what it is, how it looks like. Then that plan, general arrangement plan, it's normally copied from general arrangement, and then it shows clearly each deck control station, various fire section enclosed by class A division. You remember what we have discussed in the beginning. The beginning means long ago. That ship is made up of boxes. It's a combination of boxes, and each box is A class division. That means each and every bulkhead, deck and top, everything is A class. That means if one box catches fire, it will remain within that box. It will not spread everywhere. That is the idea. Then
60.
rest of the information is here, that what all will be shown, including pumps, which pumps and all. That's why I want you to have look at those plans. Then they are kept always up to date, and if any alterations are done, they are recorded immediately, as well as first thing, alterations are not done without approval of classification society. So once it is done, then you need to change. Normally it will not happen, because from the beginning this fire plans remains the same. In case something is there, then you have to make sure where generally the change will come, and that is where people get caught, especially on container ships. What happens on container ships? Container ships, when you charter them, you may charter them for lifetime, you may charter them for years, or you may charter them for one single voyage of 2 months. Normally, for 2 months voyage, ship's name shouldn't be changed, but believe me, it happens. For 2 months sake also, you change ship's name, you change ship's funnel colors. Why? Because the charterer wants to show it is his own ship. He doesn't want others to know he has hired it. So in case you have this sort of a situation, ensure that everywhere names are changed. Otherwise you can get caught, and that time it becomes a big embarrassment. Normally embarrassment should be only the issue, but these days with the corruption levels, you may end up paying bribes. Then again, the language on the plan will be normally the it will be English, and in case there is a local language used, then local language both. And in case language is another one, then a translation is included. This is required for your approvals and all. If you bring it to me in Spanish or say Mandarin or some other language, I won't know what I am reading. So a translation has to be provided, official translation. Then I approve accordingly. So for that reason, you will always have one copy showing in English, French, whatever it is, and other copies may be with the working language, but with maritime English, most of the ships you will find it in English only. Now, a duplicate set of all this manual, everything, especially the plan or a booklet if it is there, is permanently stored in prominently marked weather-tight enclosure outside deck house for assistance of shoreside firefighting personnel. Now, this part comes in. Normally, we have it outside wheelhouse, where, in case of fire, and if you are at sea and some firefighting tugs come for your assistance and all, they can utilize this information because they know where to go and take it out. Once you are in port, it is next to gangway. So, in case there is a fire and you get a shoreside assistance, then those guys know everything. Now, in this, along with the plan, you also show where are your SCBA and other things. That is why everything is marked on the plan. But the professional firefighters, once they establish where they are and how to use the plan, then they can approach fire because they can utilize their expertise. Then, during fire drills, if you can discharge certain number of portable fire extinguishers, you do it, and that also by people who are likely to use it. Like if you are going to use a foam, okay, where you are going to use foam, normally it will be in engine room, so it should be generally one of the engine room crew members who will use it, so that he also gets little bit on hand experience. Now, how many you discharge, it depends. You have got your choice. You can discharge, see, you have got one cycle of recharging, so you try to synchronize in such a way that okay, every 2 weeks I discharge one, or every month I discharge one, whatever is the number. But you can discharge more for training purpose and refill it. So far as you have got proper refills on board, you don't have to worry about it. Then fire control plan must show firemen's outfits and means of escape, because even if you get shore guys coming in with all the expertise, it is possible fire can defeat them. So, if they need, there will be fireman's outfit, they know where it is, as well as means of escape. How do they escape? So, this is where we close on the on-board training and drills, the regulation part. Any doubts on this? Next one, 16 and 17 together, okay, because that's very small ones. Now what happens is, there are a lot of other activities which are done on board. We were talking only fire, but you also have got ship and cargo handling operations. Means your day-to-day activities on board and cargo handling operations and all. And there also there is a possibility that if the operations are not done properly, you may cause the fire. For that reason, fire safety operational booklet shall be provided. That means where all the precautions are given. If you are doing this job, follow this procedure, especially on tankers, cargo handling procedures, because you are going to pump in, pump out, whatever you are going to do. So if you make mistakes, there can be issues. The flammable vapor releases from cargo tank venting, that is that what we saw earlier, that is mast risers and all. How do you release it? That we will be covering up again down, where the velocity, and it must be away from accommodation, away from all other ventilation systems, so it should not go in that, and it should not catch fire because ignition source should be separated, etc., etc. So that is what we are saying. An operational booklet is provided for procedures. The operational booklet shall contain necessary information and instructions for safe operation of the ship and cargo with relation to fire safety. Okay, it's not going to tell you about stability, it's going to tell you about fire safety. Then include information concerning crew's responsibility for general fire safety on board while loading, discharging cargo and while underway. The छोटा छोटा चीज होता है very often. but those instructions have to be there, that how do you take fire safety precautions. Then if ship is carrying dangerous goods or flammable bulk cargoes like oil or something. Now when we say bulk cargoes, just get it right, bulk cargoes do not mean only solids. They can be solid or liquid in bulk format. Because very often what happens is we say bulk cargo and we start thinking it is only solid cargo. It is not. It can be liquid also. Bulk means in large quantity without packaging. Then firefighting emergency or cargo handling instructions, as they are referred in different codes. Now this all codes you will have to know, not right now, but by the time you finish 3 years in the institute. The code of safe practices for solid bulk cargoes, bulk chemical code, gas carrier code, maritime dangerous good code, etc. Whatever it is, but referencing will be done in that. Fire safety operational booklet shall be provided in each crew mess room, and same thing like fire control, fire control manual, no, fire safety manual. Okay. Then next one will be it written in the working language. Or see, these three things are same. It may be combined with training manual. Generally, it will be combined. Generally, because both things have got everything same, so you just add up and make it little thicker, and it is left there. Additional requirement for tankers. Now, basically you don't want fire to spread to cargo area due to ignition of inflammable vapors, and it has to include procedure for cargo tank gas purging, gas freeing. Now you remember that flammability diagram, correct? That is exactly what instructions you will have. Similar one, how do you do the jobs? Okay, you follow those instructions. This is what is required. Now, ships with inert gas system, cargo tanks, purge, aquatic provisions, whatever is given there you follow. Because first thing you are going to get the flammability diagram, then you are going to take the readings, and this is all what we said. Here it is recorded and a procedure is given to you. You are going to do this, this is the procedure. You follow step by step. When you do that step by step, you will follow everything correctly. Now what happens is, I'll tell you honestly, we all are brought up in a way that we think if I can remember each and everything, I am the smartest guy around. Why? Because I remember quickly. Teacher asks me question, I answer immediately. Everything well said and done. Remembering things does help because you are faster. But today's world doesn't have any error margins. So, if I think I remember all the 15 things in a sequence, very nice. But suppose if I miss out one, the result can be catastrophic. So, I personally believe, even though I believe, but I have not necessarily followed it, which is because our generation changed from one end to other end completely. When I joined Sea Life, we did not have anything in writing practically. Everybody had to do it in head, and the guy who remembered maximum was always considered smartest guy. And over the period, we entered into checklist procedures, etc. Everything record keeping as well as writing it down and then following the instructions. So today, if you have to do it, follow the procedures. They are provided and you must follow them. Instead of trying to keep everything in the head. Yes, sure, you may remember everything, but you always follow that procedure or a checklist and tick Kia. Don't consider it is below your intelligence level. That is the main thing. Now, coming to this. Now, Cargo tank deck level is a gas spring made. Cargo tank deck level is one part because what happens is first you follow those instructions, means you release it first at higher heights, and once your things come under control, like you are stayed out of explosive limits, and you know now onwards it cannot go in explosive limit, that is the flammability diagram, then we are talking of cargo tank deck level. This is the statement which says first after you have done all the skillful job, then you come to this level, and then you don't worry much. Why? Because you know you cannot enter that explosive limit at all. Now if ship is not provided with inert gas system, then the inflammable vapors are discharged as per outlets which are given under the some rules, and outlets are at least 2 meters above the tank level and velocity of at least 20 meters 30 meters per second, that is the escape velocity. Okay, during gas firing operation, means when you blow it, it's normally you are not going to get a ship without inert gas system. And the second one, suitable devices to prevent passage of flame. That means you drop the speed a little bit, but then you have got some other things like those safety screens and all, so the ignition cannot take place, passage of flame cannot come across. We used to call it Davis safety lamp, and that is the same principle which was used in mines. After that, this is it. Then the outlets are not located less than 10 meters horizontally measured. Okay, nearest air intake. So because you don't want the inflammable gas to enter in another ventilation system and create havoc there, so that's why they are isolated. This is again like this, once you have got everything under the control that you cannot enter the explosive limit, you consider at a gas test, then it becomes bindas operation. This part F is always kept in most of the regulations to allow for new technologies to enter this, because if you really look at it, earlier technologies were ancient, means really they were so elementary level, and in spite of taking all the precautions, still we had accidents. So over the years the designs improved, new technologies come in, safety improves. So for that purpose regulation 17 is kept, which allows the alternate designs, better designs, and you can say the newer technologies to come and replace old ones. Any doubts on this? Are you there or no? I know I'm not going to ask Ahan because Ahan will be there. Adhyayan, are you there? Adhyayan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, very good. So that means people are still around, I suppose. Okay, we come to helicopter facilities. You have got two types. One is helideck, another one is the one helicopter facility. Helicopter facility means what? You are going to have either helicopter landing there, or you are going to tow a live helicopter there, means it is your parking space for helicopter, which happens on the super rich people's fancy yachts. They have got couple of they have got everything, speed boats, you name it, every damn thing is available to them. But those are generally the people we never read about. They prefer to remain silent, so that they don't have to worry, they enjoy whatever they want to do, they don't have to worry about money anyway. But then they have got all the fancies, okay, let's do this. Fine, there were people earlier days, which stories were there. One guy's girlfriend used to like some orchids, so every day orchids came from Sri Lanka. Every day. So, a guy is paying the bill, nobody bothers. So, those ships have facility for helicopters. They are parked there, they take off whenever required. So, there obviously, when you have helicopters parked there, you also have refueling, because after all, how will they fly? Next is helicopter fuel will be aviation fuel, or one of them. None of the aircrafts run on diesel or heavy oil. So those are lighter oils. Lighter oils means low flash points. So you have to counteract all these additional risks which are coming with these facilities. And so you have got additional firefighting appliances designed to tackle what may happen from those facilities. Then you have got, like say here, refueling and hangar facilities plus landing takeoff time also you can have accident. So you have to have a certain things, like here you will have a facility to just cover up everything in foam. So in case anything crashes, they can have a big foam discharge straight away. But that depends on the approval, what sort of a system has been approved. Then as usual, moment you have anything there, you have to have operation manuals and training. Operation manuals will be provided because you buy equipment from people, so operation manual will be there. Manufacturers will give you everything. And training, the specialized training to use the additional firefighting appliances, because it is specialized, fine, you will get training also. Everybody gives you, when you buy a product, you get training. Like for example, if you buy one of the our fancy cars, your driver gets training from them. You want to buy a Mercedes, sure, Mercedes will provide training to the driver. That's it. So we have finished this one also. See, these are chote chote hai sab. Now we come to the next one, 19. 19 is more or less, as far as I go, you are going to deal in cargo work, because under regulation 19 you are allowed to carry hazardous goods which are listed, like with a UN number. Now you all have done it, cross referencing and all, how to find information and all, but the ship needs certification that she is allowed to carry this. Now when you have got that sort of a certificate, then based on the nature of cargo, you need certain extra firefighting equipment, appliances or arrangements, whatever you call it. So that time, like suppose the ship is designed allowed to carry coal on bulk carrier. So there will be insistence on you must have this much of capacity of CO2, AO, whatever it is. At the same time, some ships will not be allowed to carry coal. Why? Because they never asked for it, but they can't carry coal. So this list is there, and that is covered under this rule 19. This additional safety measures, okay, means a same ship, if she doesn't carry these cargoes, she will have one requirement, that is a base requirement. Moment you add all the anything extra, helicopter facility, you keep on adding up extra safety equipment and the firefighting equipment. Okay, not safety, firefighting equipment. For the dangers for the fire, added fire hazards associated with carriage of dangerous goods. And then that usual shall be adequately separated of ignition sources. Like what happens, sometimes if you are going to carry certain cargoes, then you need to have a ventilation system. Okay. Now I remember little sketchy right now, but one of my ships between USA and Europe, we ended up paying some small penalty, not big one, but because what happened under US rules, you don't need ventilation or something, and other one you definitely need ventilation, or it was not supposed to be loaded under deck or something like that. There was a difference. Most probably it was loaded under deck, which was not allowed to be loaded under deck, because USA says you can load it under deck if the ventilation, power ventilation is there. Means it's not natural. The mechanical ventilation is there. We had it. But in Europe, they don't allow it to be loaded under deck. So they came on board. There were 2 containers, and they told me, "This is it, Captain, and we will be penalizing like this." So, okay, the agent took care of it, because normally what happens, container ships, ये छोटा मोटा चीज़ होता है, that is done by the planning centers. They plan everything, and to run ship smoothly, you generally have a quick look. They have experienced people sitting in planning centers. They are not something just picked up from here. They are always, the big boss will be very experienced guy in carriage of cargoes, and mostly he will be one of the captains. And then under him you may have a lot of second officers, third officers, or untrained, I mean, not shippies, but got trained somewhere else, like maybe like a BSc nautical science, anything, who took shore jobs. So those guys are generally part of the team. They keep on doing it, and then there is always a separate section for hazardous cargoes. Every container company has got a separate section for hazardous cargoes, and interestingly, during my sailing days, I noticed it was always manned by women basically. I always dealt with the female bosses of those teams. But whatever reasons were, but hazardous cargoes are always handled separately. It needs separate approval, separate things. So there is a separate department which controlled hazardous cargoes, and other one will take care of rest of the cargo on container ships. And it's a big work. It is not something that we think it's easy. But the jobs there are like 24/7. You should have laptop and a mobile phone on. So it is little what you will say, challenging job. I was getting one for P&O, and then P&O was taken over by Maersk. But I did not like that idea that wherever you go, you must be ready. That means you should be able to open plan and start making changes. I didn't like that idea. Okay. Ignition sources are separated, and appropriate PPE. This is where the some extra things we carry. Like if you are carrying a specific chemical in container, okay, I'm saying it in a tank container, you are carrying a specific chemical. You will need chemical suits with full arrangement. They are totally sealed with breathing and all. You wear breathing apparatus inside and totally sealed. And you also need neutralizing agents. Why? In case there is a spill, you should be able to neutralize it. So there are neutralizing agents, which are other set of chemicals which are provided to you. Then we come to the what is document of compliance. This is something you must have studied in cargo work. This document of compliance is required certificate if you carry hazardous cargoes on the ships. Okay. So this is actually an interview question. What is document of compliance? Or maybe somebody may ask, but generally it will be interview question. So now we go to the next one. अभी तक any doubts? No. Very good. I like smart guys. That मेरा काम.
सर 12 के बाद सीधा 18.
हाँ.
सर रेगुलेशन 12 के बाद सीधा 18 है.
I am present, sir.
तू एब्सेंट रहेगा तो यही होएगा. 12 के बाद
Present
we
sir
did
मैं
13 14. 14
I am
तक was
present.
one group, then 15 to 18 we came, 19 we finished, now we are on 20.
Yes, sir.
I know that because I have been also keeping track.
सर अब क्लास खत्म करें?
नहीं, ये 20 करके ख़त्म करेंगे.
सर लंच भी करना है सर.
नहीं नहीं, नेवर माइंड, यू कैन हैव डिनर स्ट्रेट. अच्छी भूख लगेगी, फिर अच्छा खाना खाएगा फिर. ओके. Okay, protection of vehicle special category and ro-ro spaces. Okay, vehicle space special category is where you have got passengers also going there because they have got access to it, and ro-ro spaces. Now, fire protection systems are provided to protect the ship from fire hazards associated with vehicles, and these three is other two spaces. Ignition sources shall be separated from vehicle, and these all three spaces. Then they are adequately ventilated. This is one of the most important because accumulation of, you remember what we did earlier? You had to prevent accumulation of flammable vapors, so that is why you need this ventilation. Then all ships, the vehicles with fuel in their tanks for own propulsion, okay, they can be carried in cargo spaces also, but cargo spaces they are not driven there. They don't use the propulsion in the cargo spaces. They are lifted and loaded. Okay. So that is one. Or they may be loaded on flat track containers, but they have got fuel inside. Then, because when they start using propulsion, then there are other issues. Then requirements of regulation 19. Regulation 19
What about
because
ro-ro ships?
huh?
What about ro-ro ships?
Yeah, we'll come to that. Ro-ro ships have got ro-ro spaces. We are talking here protection of spaces. Now ro-ro ship will have only these ro-ro spaces, no? And something new has come now. We used to have pure car carriers. Now you have got pure truck carriers also. I just read about it just few days ago.
Yes, sir. Some PPP, PCPR.
Yeah, some new ones have come which carry only trucks. Okay. So this regulation 19 is talking about carrying hazardous goods. Now cargo spaces which carry this, because moment you talk about cars, vehicles with the fuel in their tank, you have got hazardous cargo. That's why regulation 19 comes in. Now vehicles are carried in accordance with IMDG code. That is where regulation 19 also gets connected. Precaution against ignition of flammable in closed vehicle spaces. Precautions must be done. That means you don't allow ignition sources nearby. You treat it as if it is some sort of a tanker. All the fittings must be gas tight, so electrical systems cannot set off fire there, because you accept vehicles are there, you will have flammable vapors. That means there can be fire. It is almost as good as, means one of my friend, he is क्या बोलेगा, खोजा टाइप ऑफ मुस्लिम्स है ना, एंड उसका एक लव अफेयर हो गया था, एंड हिज could have been father-in-law was very suspicious guy, and he did not believe in drinking. So he had told me, if he sees lime cordial bottle in my house, he will be looking for a gin bottle. So like that, we accept here flammable vapors will be present. So ignition source should not be there. Okay. Capacity of ventilation systems. Passenger ships, special category spaces, 10 air changes per hour. Then they adds up with the passengers are there, more than so many passengers. Then you have got where you have got less than 36 passengers, then it comes down to 6 changes. Cargo ship is 6 changes per hour. Highest one will be always cargo pump room 20 times per hour. Okay, and they will always insist for this extra ventilation when vehicles are being loaded and unloaded for two reasons. One is in case any spill or something is there of say their fuel. Other one important, when you are moving the vehicles, loading and discharging, you also have got exhaust gases. Exhaust gases are inert. If they accumulate, the people can die. That is the reason the increased number of air changes when vehicles are being loaded or unloaded. So that is the reason. Now, so 6 times bola hai, you can have 8 times, 9 times. And anyway, always remember, moment the first vehicle is loaded, your ventilation is on. It is never ever switched off till the last vehicle has left. So Ro-Ro ships, it is when you are carrying vehicles, your ventilation is always on, non-stop. Now, ventilation systems are there. There will be indicators on, off, what is happening. That knowledge should be available on navigation bridge, so that there is some control on it. If you find something has gone bad, then you take the replacement one, switch on that one, because there will be additional capacity. Nobody is going to stick only 6 means 6. So if I have got say 20 ventilators, I will have, my requirement is 20, I may have 24, 26 ventilators available. So I can change over. Then rapid shutdown and effective closure of ventilation system from outside required, because in case there is a fire, you do not want to supply oxygen. So if there is a fire, you shut down everything quickly and try to remove that one leg of the fire triangle, that is oxygen. And that is all done taking into account weather and sea conditions. That means from where you are going to switch off, it should be in a protected space. Now, the A60 class divisions and all are there. Permanent openings, you have got permanent opening in side shell platings and all at times. So, that fire in the cargo hold space does not endanger stowage areas or embarkation stations for survival craft accommodation spaces and all. That means your fire, in case it starts, should not burn your lifeboats or life rafts. That is the idea here. Because there will be some openings, like especially you find these things on ferries mainly. Detection and alarm, fixed fire detection alarm systems are there like every other ship, but here you have got some tricky parts. You may have open vehicle spaces. You have got vehicles there, but it's open space, open to the sky. In that case, you need different type of, because again what happens there, you cannot use the smoke extraction system easily. Why? Because there is a wind is blowing, so even a smoke is there, so you will never have concentration of smoke to give you alarm. So you have got multiple types of detectors which are used, and all of them are approved depending on the situation. Then sample extraction smoke detection system allowed, but you need approval for it. Okay. Except open Ro-Ro spaces and all, you will be allowed fire extraction system also. Smoke extraction system. But you need approval. And normally what happens is, if the compartments are large and one car catches fire, by the time that smoke is detected and all, the damage can be lot. And there is always another danger is like people smoking and all. So there are a lot of precautions you take. So you try to avoid certain things, but anyway, whatever detection system that has to be used has to get approval from the administration, that is classification society. Now, efficient fire patrol must be maintained. Okay. Now, in case your detection systems and all fail for some reason, you don't hold your ship in the port. What you do is you go ahead, replace it with manual for fire patrol system, because requirement is fire patrol shall be maintained in special category spaces. Then, because in that case you don't need the fixed system, so that if you have got fixed system and it fails, you can replace it with manual one. And manually operated call points are placed means 40 meters apart. At any given time, I must have one within reach in 20 meters. So, logically speaking, one here, one there. That is distance between the two will be 40. I am in the middle. I get the minimum running over 20 meters. Okay. So that finishes 20. Now 21, 22, 23 next week we will be doing. And I have sent a list of people who must attend at 5:30. Okay. Anything more? Already we are beyond the timing, so we call it a day. Okay. This is the first time we have gone beyond.
Bye, sir.
Bye. भूख लगी है, लंच खाना बाकी है. Luckily you didn't say breakfast.